Hi everyone, welcome to Chapter 9, Misdemeanor Crimes. I'm Dr. Sirianni. I'm at the Blairsville campus. It's actually pretty loud here in the hallway. I've got the door closed. I apologize for any background noise. It's advisement time, as you know, so it's a busy place. So if you hear any background noise, just try to ignore it. That's what I'm doing. All right, here we go. Introduction. Misdemeanor crimes involving people and property may seem like minor types of cases, and to many cops who have been out on the road for a while, it definitely does. But these types of crimes are commonplace and need to be properly documented to facilitate potential future prosecution and closure of the incident. Remember, not every crime is going to be a robbery or a burglary or something extreme of that nature. You're going to respond to calls such as criminal mischief, someone hit my mailbox, somebody damaged my grass, the neighbor's dog is pooping in my yard and won't stop, retail theft. That's a big one, especially if you have a Walmart in your jurisdiction. I can tell you we went there 2 or 3 times daily. The loss prevention folks, really good at catching them, and they called us. So misdemeanors are a big part of your job. Some typical misdemeanor cases are what might be minor assaults or minor batteries. Those, although they call them minor, because they involve people, they usually intend to be major incidents. Nevertheless, trespassing, the same. It involves people. Often someone who, I mentioned retail theft, they go into a store and they get caught. You as a law enforcement officer issue them a trespass warning telling them they can no longer come on the premises. However, they don't listen. They come back, they get stopped, and someone inevitably calls us, and they're trespassing after warning, and usually they go to jail. Harassment, drug possession. A lot of our county jails are full of misdemeanor drug possession cases. What happens is that, say it's under the legal limit of 20 grams of marijuana, and they get arrested, and the first time they get a slap on the wrist, the second time they get probation, the third time they get probation and maybe spend a couple days in jail, the fourth time they get 3 months in jail, and you see how this goes. And minor thefts. Okay, crimes against property. Usually associated with a financial loss to the victim. I'll tell you, it's almost always about money. When someone takes something from someone else, there's a monetary value. The difference between a misdemeanor and a felony is typically separated by the amount of financial loss. For example, in Georgia, I believe it's $500 and above felony. Florida, $300 and above felony, with the exception of what you steal. If you steal a stop sign, that's a felony. If you steal a fire extinguisher, even though the value is less than the limited amount, it's still a felony. Okay, examples of type of property crimes are theft, criminal mischief, as I mentioned, vandalism. Someone simply going down the road and throwing eggs at someone's house. Toilet papering. It's still a crime against property. Damage to property. So when the situation allows, ask the victim if he or she has documentation that supports the value being reported. In other words, do they have ascribed numbers? Do they have receipts? Receipts are a big one. What really helps us in retail shoplifting cases is you go to the store, especially if someone's already detained by loss prevention or a clerk or the owner, they can print you out a receipt. So you don't need to take the item they stole. You just need a receipt showing what it was and the value, and you put that in evidence. Trends in theft. And how to investigate these trends, it does require training. You're going to school right now, but I will tell you that once you get hired on to an agency or an organization, you will go through continuous training. It will never stop. So let's watch this video, which helps explain.
Whether their habit's a $100, $200, or $300
I'm
habit
working
a
on it.
day, that's typically what they're going to steal and turn into recyclers.
Metal thieves. They have hit schools, hospitals, and
There we go.
airports. Those thefts are causing some serious problems right here in Utah, and the crime is on the rise. Today, police from all around the state learned just how to do a better job catching some of these metal crooks.
And Koyo Oyamba reports on what the police are missing. And Koyo, what did officers learn?
Well, Deanie, officers from all over the state came here to the public safety building basically to learn that metal thieves know the law and they're using it to their advantage to evade capture by police.
So you got a guy with a bolt cutter and a magnet.
Lesson 1, looking for signs and behaviors of metal crooks.
If they have a magnet and potentially a headlamp, a red headlamp or something like that, or voltmeter, or CLR that they use to clean this stuff.
Metal expert Lieutenant Terrence Alling says thieves are one step ahead of police.
A lot of this stuff is going to be stripped, and they strip that because they don't want, you're taking away any of the characteristics that might give you away. We're playing catch up. That's what this training is all about. Because again, a lot of times we just don't understand what we're seeing sometimes.
Lesson 2, Alling says copper theft became an epidemic in 2006. Of all the metals, it's the most reported stolen. By 2011, the National Insurance Crime Bureau statistics show copper theft reached its height and sold for nearly $4.50 a pound. Alling says 90% of those crooks are drug abusers trying to feed their habit.
Here it is when you strip it off. So if you strip this off, you're easily going to get twice as much for stripping this metal.
Lesson 3, build strong relationships with metal recyclers.
When they believe something is stolen, what we want them to do is call law enforcement.
But Salt Lake City Police Detective Mike Millard says that relationship can only go so far.
It's really hard to track.
Just to interject with this, I used to have my undercover narc guys and girls go sit at our recycling places. A lot of our dopers would bring metal and whatnot, and we would catch them, get tags, follow them back to where they were. And he's right. Inevitably, there's a connection between metal theft. So they steal air conditioners, the copper on behind heat pumps, and whatever. It almost always connects back to narcotics.
Track them after the fact.
Recyclers are required to photocopy state or federal IDs and get a digital photo of the people selling the metal. But there isn't a national database to share that information. For now, the West Jordan Police Department manages an email system for police and recyclers in Utah to report suspicious transactions. But that's dependent on recyclers noticing suspicious behavior and knowing what to look for.
Because the shops don't necessarily know, but through the system, we can take one person that we suspect and enter them in and find out all.
And some recyclers, believe it or not, the companies are not ethical. They're criminals too.
All the shops he's been to.
Now, Utah lawmakers just passed a bill that would stiffen penalties for metal thieves and for the buyers who don't comply with the law. I spoke with the bill's sponsor, Jack Drexler, and he told me that he's still open to any suggestions that would help curb metal theft in Utah. Mike.
Hopefully these things combined can help deter this. It's a frustrating crime in Koyo. Thanks.
Okay. I wanted to share that. Moving on. Okay. So tips for documentation. Tell the story. You've heard this how many times? Tell the story of the incident in chronological order and in simple, understandable words. Review your state statute regarding the elements of a crime. Dependent upon what state you work in, that statute or that code will vary, and the monetary amounts that are applicable to it being a criminal incident are relevant. You need to know your statutes. Also, regarding crimes against persons, if there are observable injuries, you want to document it. Take photographs before and after. What I mean is, well, while you're there, take photographs and then come back. Because as you know, when someone hits somebody else or someone gets injured, there might be some redness, but the next day there might be some substantial bruising. So follow up. Have the victim or victims contact you in a few days of the incident. Well, there we go. I just spilled the beans. For additional photos. If medical attention was required, describe it in detail. And you're not a medical examiner, nor are you a doctor, but if you can get a basic statement or a partial redacted report from the hospital, it's very helpful. Sometimes you can't because of HIPAA. It just depends. All right, some more tips for documentation. Regarding crimes against property, take the time to document the property items. As you see, serial number, it's right there. Receipts, any distinguishing characteristics. Oops. And that might be an owner applied number. And what I mean by that, sometimes people have inscribers. I've seen it many times. Well, they'll put a 4-digit code or anything, and the inscribers work on plastic. They work on anything. They can put a code that shows that is their item. If they can provide that number to you, when someone turns in a TV at a pawn shop, and you go and you check out the pawn shop, and in the back is the code 6321. I'm just pulling that number. That's theirs. That is identifiable. Not only do you have the serial number, but you have the owner applied number. Very, very helpful. This has been a short presentation. I was hoping that you would all finish your critical thinking papers. Very serious. As you watch this, they were already due. They're due Friday at midnight. So, well, you need to have had them done, and I hope you have. If you have any questions, any comments, as always, I'm here to help. If you need help with advising for your summer and fall courses, just let me know too. If you happen to see me, and I'm not your advisor and it's Miss Seegers, that's fine. We work together very well. I'll help you as well as she'll help my advisees. So let's get you set up and get you registered for your summer and fall classes. Okay? All right. Thank you. You guys have a great day.